Enter Habs After Dark with Recliner Sports.
3, 2, 1, 0.
What is going on, gang? Another big last-minute cardiac-style win for the Montreal Canadiens. Une autre victoire des Canadiens en prolongation. Une victoire de 3-2 contre les Predators de Nashville. A big win, guys. Overtime, 3-2. And the hero again, back-to-back games, is Cole Caulfield. Cole Caulfield is turning into that goal scorer that everybody envisioned that he would someday become. Those of you who were panicking a couple years ago when his goal totals were going down and you thought that he was a bit of a bust and this wasn't going to work out and whatever, now you can relax. Cole Caulfield, I'm not going to say that he's arrived, but he is now become the player that Canadiens fans have been hoping for some time. Back-to-back overtime goals for Cole Caulfield, and the Canadiens get another victory. They are now sitting at 4-1. Let's see what that looks like in the standings. The NHL Network website is wonky at the moment, as is the Natural Stat Trick page. But we have, the Canadiens are having a great start to their season, right? This is what Marty St. Louis wanted to have. He wanted to see the team start well. Obviously, last year, the big problem with the team was their slow start. Around Christmas time, they were not a very good team. And it didn't look like they were going to have much of a chance of making the playoffs. And now they are looking like a very different team in the first little bit of the season. It's obviously still quite early, and there's still lots of time for issues to arise. But at the moment, things look quite good. So welcome to the show, guys. This is Habs After Dark. Bienvenue à l'émission Bleu, Blanc, Rouge, Nuit. Je m'appelle Devin. My name is Devin. We're here to talk about the game tonight and the Montreal Canadiens. We are live on YouTube. We are also live on TikTok. Unfortunately, on TikTok, guys, I'm not going to be able to respond to your questions. If you want to get in on the conversation, come on over and join the show on YouTube. The channel is called Recliner Sports 4. If you are here and you're watching and you're not yet subscribed, it's easy to do so. Just hit the button down below. We're looking for about 40 more subscribers to get to 500. That's a big number here on YouTube, and that's what we're trying to get to. It would be awesome if you would join us. What we do here is we do a post-game show after every Canadiens game where we have some intelligent conversation about the Canadiens, about the game, about the NHL and hockey in general. If that interests you, we'd love to have you be part of our community and be part of the conversation. So, si vous êtes intéressé à ça, c'est une place pour vous. Touchez sur le bouton en bas, deviens membre de la canal. Si vous voulez aussi, il y a un autre bouton avec un petit cloche dessus. C'est pour avoir des notifications. Quand on va être sur l'émission, vous pouvez nous joindre ici. Have you joined us yet, Tail Rush? Have you joined our... are you a subscriber yet to Recliner Sports? Welcome, Bushy as well. Clutch Caulfield. I agree. We're going to give him some nicknames. I think it was an impressive performance for Mr. Caulfield tonight, and it's been a pretty impressive week for him. He's become a pretty special player and a big part of this Montreal Canadiens squad. All right, guys. Tail Rush has a question here. Do you think the Habs should let Galley go, or should the Habs extend his contract for 2 more years? Well, I believe he still has another 2 years after this one on his contract, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a lot of time before that decision needs to be made. He has 1 more season after this, so it won't be... he won't be a free agent at the end of this season, but he'll be a free agent at the end of that season. At the moment, if you were asking me what I would do, I would seriously consider giving him another contract. Obviously, it would be for significantly less money than what he, well, not necessarily less money, but less of a percentage of the cap than what he's making at the moment. I think he's a great leader on the team. If he were to stay with the team, I think his role would have to, be quite diminished. Although I will say that, what I know from Gallagher is he's probably not the kind of guy who's going to want to stick around until he's 100 years old. His body is pretty beaten up. He's had a number of pretty serious injuries over the years. And, the idea of him playing until he's, 38 or 39 is probably not very likely. I don't really envision that from him. What's up, Entertap? Great to see you, man. It's been a long time. I hope that everything is well with you, and it's great to see you. You too, Lucky, as well. But yeah, those are my thoughts on. I mean, if he's still able to contribute to the team, I wouldn't have any problem with keeping him on the team as a bit of a veteran presence. But again, I think he might sort of be more like a David Savard type who kind of realizes that, it's time to make room for some of the younger players. And, he may be the kind of guy who sticks around the team, but, steps back from his role as a player. But I think there's still, we still got, some time to worry about that, another 2 years. So I wouldn't be pushing that at the moment. So thoughts on Arbor not being in the lineup? Well, I mean, it's tough. I'm a big Arbor Jackeye fan. I think he has a role on the team. That said, Jaden Struble has earned the opportunity, I think, to play as well. It's not like he's been terrible. I think Arbor Jackeye was better during the preseason and during training camp, and he earned the role as the sixth defenseman. But you can't just leave Jaden Struble in the press box indefinitely. You can't, as to describe, I think somebody said you can't Michael Pezzetta him. Struble played tonight, and he looked very good. And there was no real, for a guy who had been out of the lineup for as long as he had, I thought he played quite well. And so I don't really have a problem with Arbor not being in the lineup. I mean, to me, I think Arbor is probably the guy who has the bigger future with the Canadiens down the road. I see him, being, the guy who is playing a role on the Canadiens in 3 or 4 years from now. But I mean, Struble could as well. So I don't know. It's really hard to say. I mean, Struble certainly acquitted himself well tonight, and I don't really, have too much of a, I don't have a real strong opinion either way. I mean, I think, I was kind of interested to see the mixing and matching that was going on tonight with the defensive pairs by Marty St. Louis. I don't know what that was all about and what sort of caused that. But again, Jaden Struble had an excellent game tonight. So maybe somebody can let me know what the status is of Gooley. I don't know I know he didn't really get back on the ice too much after going down. So, I'm glad to hear it, Entertap. I think, I hope, I think about you all the time, and I hope that things are going good for you and your family. I see that you're back doing some shows with Coach Frenchie, and I think that's good to see as well. Maybe you'll join me on here one of these nights, and we'll do something on here as well. But I'm glad to hear that things are going a little bit better. So, yes, no problem, Tail Rush. I'm always here to answer your questions. Like I said, it's my, the idea behind this show is for me to have a conversation with you guys, not just to sort of sit here and talk into the microphone and, say my piece. I want to have conversations and hear what you guys have to say and hear what kind of questions you guys have. So you don't have to thank me for answering your questions. Asim says, we're back on the Gallagher topic here. I think him and Anderson are playing well. ND playing their role. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're this year and last year, they've both played their roles quite well. I would like to see the Canadiens get to a place where you've got a fourth line of Evans, Gallagher, and Anderson, and that your other three lines are strong enough that you can put those guys on the bottom line and then let them play that role. Right now, they kind of, Gallagher in particular is kind of playing a bigger role than what you might expect out of him. I wonder how long he can do that for, just given the state of his health and whatever. So, yeah, it should be interesting to watch. Saros kept the score low. High danger chances go to the Habs. The high danger chances, unfortunately, we normally get to them at the scoreboard, but unfortunately, they have not been updated to the end of the game yet by Natural Stat Trick. Up until the overtime, the high danger chances were 10-9 in favor of the Canadiens. 13-12 make that in all situations. 10-9 in 5-on-5. So, yeah, Saros played well. As did Dobesh. So, both goalies I thought played a decent game. Nicholas, which player has impressed me the least so far this year? I don't really. I mean, it's a bit of a negative question. I don't like to think of it in those terms, to be quite honest with you, Nicolas. One, I don't think there's anybody that's really stood out as being a weak performer. I think that there's no one guy that you could say has really struggled. I can tell you who it's not. It's not Patrick Laine. And I know a lot of people are suggesting that it is. I think Patrick Laine has played quite well so far this year, including tonight. So, I mean, if you're asking me to pick one guy, I don't really know who to say. Like, there's nobody really to me that I would pick out as somebody who has, stood out as an underperformer. Did Gouli return after the injury? I have no idea. I'm not sure myself. So, yeah, I really don't know. If anybody has any news on that, let us know. Charles Olivier, didn't get to see the game, but saw the last 3 minutes in overtime. How did they play apart from that in the end? We'll get into it a little bit later on the show, but just in general terms, I thought they had a really strong first period. I thought their systems were working really, really well. They were doing a great job of causing turnovers in their own end, killing plays, creating turnovers in the neutral zone, and transitioning the puck like really, really quick. Like, they were using their speed and they were using their transition game really, really well. Unfortunately, it didn't really amount to much. They didn't get a lot of shots or chances on goal. They just didn't seem to be shooting the puck that much in the first period. Second period, things kind of evened out a little bit. And then, again, the Canadiens, very similar to the previous game, they just kind of put a push on in the last 4 or 5 minutes, managed to tie the game, and then pulled it out in overtime. So, realistically, if you saw the last 3 minutes in the overtime, you probably saw the best part of the game, I think, frankly. When do we see Veleno drawing in? It's a good question. I was asked that earlier today by somebody. I mean, I could see Veleno playing, and I think he's earned the right to get a spot. But like I just said in response to the previous question, I don't know that there's anybody who really stands out as deserving to be. What's up, Randy? Good to see you. Yes, a very exciting game. I don't think there's anybody that really stands out as deserving to get started or taken out in favor of Veleno. I don't like who would you take out? Like who's the guy? Like, who are you identifying to come out in favor of Veleno? I mean, unless you really, really feel like you need to get that left-handed center who could potentially win some faceoffs for you, in the lineup. The other thing with Veleno for me too is, I would much rather see the younger, homegrown guys play than him. I mean, I like him, and I would love to see him do well. For me, Veleno is a bit of a, he's a bit of a lottery ticket too, right? Like, if Veleno can get in a position or in a spot where he's comfortable and somehow manages to sort of regain that form that made him such a hot prospect coming out of junior and made him an exceptional status player in the Quebec League, and that's still inside him, right? And if somehow he finds that magic and is able to, again, I'm not saying he's going to become a 50-goal scorer or whatever, but there was a time when he was seen as a potential number one overall draft pick, a guy who could become a real superstar in the NHL. And so, in that sense, Veleno is kind of interesting. But at the moment, for me, I don't see who I would take out to put Veleno in. And, if the suggestion is, to take out somebody like Kapanen, who I think has been a little bit inconsistent this year, but when he's not contributing offensively, he's still playing solid defensive hockey. He's never going to hurt you. I would much rather see Kapanen get that ice time than sit in the stands in favor of, a guy who's not really a veteran per se, but certainly in the scheme of the Canadiens is a veteran. So I'd rather see the Canadiens play their young, homegrown talent than I just, my preference is always going to be for those guys. What's my thoughts on Laine, short and long term? I like Laine. If you've spent any time around here, I'm not one of the, I'm a Laine defender. I think the narrative on Laine is unfair. I think it's inaccurate. I think he's having a very good start to the season. I thought he played well tonight. I thought he'd play well most games this year. People are wondering about why he's not producing as much. Well, I think they're trying to get him to adapt and to learn how to play better within the Canadian system. And to me, that's an indication that they do have an interest in keeping him around, after this year. The reason I think he's on that fourth line, so-called, is that he's playing with guys who are really good at playing the Canadian system. And, so I think he's, working on being a better forechecker, working on, the defensive zone coverages, working on, Marty St. Louis talks about the ordinary things, right? You got to do the ordinary things to give yourself an opportunity to do the extraordinary things. And I think right now, Patrick Laine is being asked to work on those ordinary things. And I think he's doing a very good job of it. I think he's improving game to game. I think his skating is still not there like it was a couple years ago. I think he's still, whether that has something to do with his knee injury or what have you, I think he's still, he's about a half step behind where he would have been in the past. The only complaint I would potentially have about Laine is that he, perhaps tries to do a little bit too much on his own, and he needs to simplify his game a little bit more. Dumping the puck in a little bit more, looking for little outlet passes. But beyond that, I'm a fan, and I would be very happy to see Laine be a part of this lineup long term. I would have no issue whatsoever for that. We already talked about that, Randy. I don't think there's any specific reason other than, I think they wanted to give Struble a chance to play. They don't want to just leave him in the press box indefinitely. I think that's sort of the rationale there. Obviously those are the two guys who I think are going to end up platooning a little bit as the sixth defenseman. I don't think, obviously Jack-Eye, you might argue, some people would argue that he struggled a little bit the last couple games. I don't know if I completely agree with that, but obviously the numbers don't look great or didn't look great for him. So, I think that's probably. Dobesh saving the OT was amazing. Yes, absolutely, Asim. I just wish the referees hadn't had that quick whistle. It would have been interesting to see them go the other way. On that 2-on-1, that's what you want your goalie to try and do. That's what you want your goalie to try and do in overtime to create those odd number situations. Randy, 4-1, not impressed much. Come on. I don't know what you mean. I don't understand what you mean. What did I say? I won't judge anyone until we have played 20 to 25 games. Yeah, I think you can draw conclusions about the way people are playing at the moment, but I wouldn't draw any long-term conclusions about the future of players based on the first 4, 5, 6, 10 games of the season. Bushy is saying yes, he did. Is that you saying that Gouli was able to return to the game after his injury? I hope so. Gouli remained in the game. Yeah, so there's Bushy saying it again there. Bushy, thank you for the info, Bushy. I'll look forward to getting a bit of an update on that. Can you give your 4 performers? Why don't you wait until we do? We got a ton of questions here, guys. Why don't we take a little break from the questions, guys? There's a ton of questions there to get to. I'm gonna. Why don't you let me get to the scoreboard here first, guys? So here's your scoreboard, guys, for tonight. As I said, 3-2 win, overtime. Canadiens over the Predators. The first period, no scoring. Canadiens, I think, played a really good first period. However, they didn't manage to score. Second period, Stamkos scored on a power play from Yossi and Evangelista. So that was a power play goal. So it was 1-0 for Nashville heading into the third. The Canadiens, I think, were the better team in the first period. I think you could probably argue that. Sorry, I got a mosquito flying around here. I think you could say that the Predators were probably the better team in the second period. Canadiens, I think, were the better team in the third period. Kapanen at the 6-minute mark tied things up on a bit of a scramble in front of the net. Hudson and Gooley with the assists. A bit of a downer. Perbix came back about 5 minutes later and regained the lead for Nashville on a goal assisted by McCarron. And then the magic from Cole Caulfield with 20 seconds left in the game. He scores a nice goal. Hudson is back. The Canadiens have pulled their goalie. Hudson's back all by himself. The Nashville player gets the puck inside the Canadiens' blue line, takes a shot on goal. Hudson plays goalie, but is smart enough to realize that he needs to get the puck up and that time is running out. And he, fires a full length of the ice pass to Caulfield at the opposite blue line. Caulfield goes in and beats Saros. And then, of course, you had the heroics in the overtime with 3 seconds left. Scramble in the corner, and it almost looks like the guys are just going to sort of pin the puck along the boards and end the game. Matheson manages to squeeze it out. The puck goes to Suzuki. Suzuki cuts along the goal line towards the net and passes to Caulfield, who finishes it off. And that's all she wrote. So that's the scoreboard for tonight. Unfortunately, guys, the advanced stats are not there because Natural Stat Trick still has not updated its stats to the end of the game. So I'm not able to do more than that. Let's get back to your questions. Gooley has been hunched over in pain. Let me read this from Bushy here. Gooley was seen hunched over in pain in the third period, raising injury concerns. However, he returned to the ice shortly afterward, indicating the issue might not be severe. That's good news. That's great news. Entertap says Anderson has been quiet. But I would not take him out. I agree. Anderson's been quiet, production-wise, but I don't think he's been quiet overall. I still think he's one of their best forward checkers. He's really good in that sense. He plays the system really, really well. So when we talk about the Canadiens, creating turnovers in the neutral zone, transitioning the puck, he's a big part of that. What do we got here? Hudson is the engine. Yes. When Hudson is on his game, he controls the play. So here's something I thought about a little bit, and tell me maybe what you think about this, Entertap. What I thought at the end of the game was, Hudson has been a guy who can take control of the game. I think that he probably last year was the only guy on the team who could do that. And that's not a slight at any of the other guys. That was just like, he was a guy who could control the game. Like Hudson could control the game or take control of the game. Thank you, Nicolas. Merci beaucoup. I feel like Caulfield is now demonstrating that he can be a guy who can take control of the game, right? He's done it a couple games here in a row now. Certainly tonight. I mean, like you say, he took control of the game. The team was down, and he went out and scored the tying goal and the winning goal. Obviously, very different styles, but I think if you've got the more guys you have who can sort of take control of the game like that, obviously that's a pretty good thing. Thank you, merci beaucoup. Nicolas Paquin says that he just subscribed. Why don't you guys, if you're not subscribed, why don't you do the same? Like I said, we're trying to build a community here where we can have some fun, intelligent, objective conversations about our Montreal Canadiens, and we love it. We love having you guys here. I love talking with you guys. I love having conversations after the game. The more, the merrier. 4-1. I don't think there's much to complain about. Not all four lines are offensive-minded. Four lines with different roles. I agree, Randy. I don't think there's anything to complain about. So bringing Veleno in, again, the only reason you would bring Veleno in is just because you don't want to see him sit forever, right? Again, it's similar to what we had with Pizzetta last year. You don't want to have him sit in the stands for a month and a half and then somebody gets injured and you've got to bring him in because, you need somebody, right? You want him to, be relatively fresh. Obviously, he's going to get on the ice and he's going to get a chance to skate, but, it's hard to expect a guy to come into the lineup and be a positive contributor if he's sat for any period of time. But I agree with you completely. There's nothing to complain about with this team right now. Everything's going well. There's not only Laine who needs to simplify their game. There were multiple chances where Slavkovsky could have done a one-timer, but instead takes that unnecessary touch, which loses pucks. Yes, I think that Slavkovsky has done a very good job of simplifying his game. However, I agree with you. He needs to learn he needs to trust his shot more. He needs to trust how good his shot is. There are a lot of times where he does take that, he dusts the puck off a little bit. And he needs to trust that he has a good shot and that he can score on that. I agree with there was one play in particular. It's probably the one you're referring to, Tail, where he got the puck on the power play, I think it was. And if he had fired it, he didn't even have to shoot it hard. If he had just got a one-timer towards the goal, he probably would have scored. But he stopped the puck, dusted it off, and then took a wrist shot. And the wrist shot, I think, ended up getting blocked. But yeah, Slavkovsky needs to learn to trust his shot better, and he needs to work on getting it off a little bit faster. Like if he could get his shot off a half second faster on a regular basis, you're going to start seeing him put the puck in the net a lot more. He needs to be a little bit more selfish, and he needs to the goals will come if he starts doing that. With some of our elite players, I feel comfortable in OT and shootouts. Definitely should win the majority of those. Yeah, one of the things that's really stood out to me in the last two overtimes, obviously the shootout, we haven't gotten there yet, but, is the depth that the Canadiens now have in overtime, right? They, typically most teams will have like two trios, two groups of three that they put out there, maybe a third one. But the Canadiens, tonight we saw, Slavkovsky, Suzuki, Matheson, Dobson, Demidov, Doc, Newhook was out there on the ice at one point during the overtime. There's 9 or 10 or 11 guys that could be on the ice for the Canadiens, and then there's others who don't get on there who could, like Laine could be out there. I think Kapanen got on the ice a little bit during the overtime as well. So, yeah. What do I think Slavkovsky's ceiling? I think he's got a good ceiling. I think he could be. I think that it's hard. I don't think you measure Slavkovsky's ceiling necessarily in point production. I think he's a guy who ceiling, I think he's probably a 75 plus guy. I think he probably, if he's a 70 to 75 point guy on a regular basis, that's pretty good. But again, I think he's a power forward, right? And he needs to be a guy who not just, point production, a guy who makes room for his line mates, a guy who makes life easier for Caulfield and Suzuki. It's not just about him getting goals and getting points. It's about him being a facilitator for other guys. Slav will need to work harder. I disagree, Lucky. I think you're wrong. I don't see a lack of effort from Slavkovsky. First of all, I think it's very hard to judge somebody's effort level from watching a game on a TV screen. I think Slafkovsky works very hard. If you follow the team, you follow the practices, you follow the press conferences, you follow everything, the kid works really, really hard. I think him having 1 point in 5 games is not an indication of his work level, his work ethic, his work rate. Again, like I said, Slafkovsky's contributions are not measured, necessarily in points or production. I think there's a lot more to his game than that. For example, he was the leading. He had the most hits on the team in the last game, and he had I believe 6 hits in the game against the Kraken. And he had, how many hits did he have tonight? Let's go check that out. The NHL website is still wonky, so I'm not really able to check. But again, he, when he is, creating havoc in front of the net, which he's been doing the last few games, he's doing all year. I think he's having a very good year. I think he's having a very good start to the year. And I would invite you to consider thinking about more than just his point production when you're looking at him. You like the wrestling theme pick for tonight's game? Yeah, I try to do something kind of funny, clever, creative for all the games. Randy, some days it's better than others. So, yeah. I wanted to do something like the Honky Tonk Man. If, for all you guys who are, 50 years and older in here, I wanted to do like a little bit of a Honky Tonk Man type thing. Caulfield is the B.A. Baracus. Let's get to, with that in mind, with Entertap's comment in mind, let's get to the A-team for tonight. So, guys, the A-team, as those of you who are here on a regular basis know, the A-team is our version of the 3 stars. It's the players who I believe performed the best for the Canadiens in the game. I don't consider, we don't talk about the other team. We only talk about the Canadiens. So these are the 4 players who, to me, stood out. So I certainly invite you to let me know whether I'm right, I'm wrong, whether there's guys you think should be on there that I didn't include or guys that I did include that didn't. So there you have it, guys. Your 4 members of the A-team tonight. Your Hannibal, your BA, your Murdoch, and your Face. Noah Dobson, Lane Hudson, Jaden Struble, and Cole Caulfield. So those are the guys that I picked. Let me tell you why, and in the meantime, you can let me know where I've done right or wrong. Noah Dobson, to me, just, looked good. Like, he was solid. He was skating well, shooting the puck, created a number of opportunities with shots on goal. I thought he looked excellent. Good defensively. He got caught on that one play where he fanned or the puck jumped over his stick when he was trying to take a slap shot from the point. You might argue that he probably should have played it a little bit safer there. But, we've talked at length about Matheson and how good these 2 guys are together. Matheson was able to cover for him, both great skaters. But there was a couple of shifts there in the third period where, I think he had probably 2 or 3 shots, 4 shots on goal in 2 shifts. And I thought he looked really, really good. He obviously came in and, played a role when they put together their gremlin line, at the end of the game to create offense. He was part of that out there with Lane Hudson, and I thought he looked really, really good. Lane Hudson, again, another solid game. I thought, maybe he started a little bit slower tonight, but by the end of the game, he was dominating, right? Entertap, as Entertap said earlier, he was the engine. He just, anytime he had the puck in the other team's zone, he was dangerous. And, he looked very good defensively. Got back on a few plays, hustled back to get that icing call in the third period, which was beneficial. Just did a lot of things. And then, of course, on the game tying goal, he blocks the shot from going into the net and has the wherewithal to drop the puck and fire it immediately to the opposite blue line and sends Cole Caulfield in for the game tying goal. Jaden Struble, we talked about him earlier. I thought he had a solid game tonight. Like I just think he looked really, really good. He was, stats wise, advanced stat wise, he was one of the better players on the team tonight. His expected goals for percentage, second best on the team at 80%. 1%, not even a full percent less than Lane Hudson. So for a guy who's sat in the press box for the first 4 games of the year, um, pretty solid game, and making an argument for himself. If he's trying to stay in the lineup, he's doing a pretty good job of making that argument. Cole Caulfield, I mean, there's not really anybody who saw the game knows why Cole Caulfield is on this list. He just took control of the game, in the last 5 minutes in the overtime. And, anytime you score a game-tying goal with 20 seconds left and the game-winning goal with 3 seconds left in overtime, chances are you're going to be selected as one of the best players of the night. So I think that's pretty self-explanatory. So Entertap thinks it should be Caulfield, Dobesh, Hudson, and Dobson. So the only difference between myself and Entertap is he would have Dobesh, and I've chosen Jaden Struble. Dobesh played well tonight as well. What's up, Benny? Come on over, guys. If you're on TikTok, come on over and join us on YT. We're on YT live right now. Come check out our graphics. Come check out the show. Join the conversation. We got a good chat going on here. If you're watching over here on TikTok, on YouTube, guys, give us a thumbs up if you're enjoying the content. If you like what you see, hit that thumbs up button. We really appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe. So, yeah, Dobesh tonight for me. I mean, I guess Dobesh was fine. I guess I just didn't see him standing out. He didn't really get a ton of work. 19 shots. He certainly made the saves that he needed to make, and he was very solid. So again, there's nothing negative about him, but to me, again, for a guy who hadn't played yet this year and was sort of thrown into the mix, Struble playing, 14 minutes, leading the team, just about leading the team in expected goals for, just a solid defensive game. Came out very physical early on. I mean, kind of, even earned a bit of a bump up, right? Like he's, played some shifts with, guys, he wasn't just, on that third pairing with Carrier all game. He played up the lineup a little bit too. So I don't know. I don't know exactly what that was all about, but yeah, Dobesh is certainly a deserving choice as well. Anybody else have any thoughts on that? I know, Randy, you were asking about it earlier on. I don't know if you're still here or not. But if you have any thoughts, did I get it right? Are there guys that you think should be on the A team that I haven't included? Are there guys who, are there that perhaps don't deserve to be there? Yeah, Max Scherzer is on fire right now. I watched the first inning and he didn't look that good. He threw about 9 balls in a row at one point in the first inning, but now he just seems to be, on a bit of a roll. He pitched 86 pitches here. He's allowed 1 run. Yeah, the Jays are up 5-1. Oh, now they're taking him out. He's not going to be happy about that. I'm not sure I like this call either. I'm not sure I like that call. I would have let him to see if he could get out of this inning. I don't like that call. 3 hits allowed, 1 run, and yeah, I don't like that call. I leave him in. Anyways, let's get back to hockey. So we're back here. Let's go there. So Entertap picks Caulfield, Dobesh, Hudson, Dobson. Anybody else? What do you guys think? Nobody else has an opinion on this? I find that hard to believe. Totally agree on Struble? Or you totally agree on Max Scherzer? Give us a thumbs up, guys. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, if you are enjoying the content, please please do so. If you're watching in a replay, hit the thumbs up button as well. If you're watching things tomorrow or the day after or whatever, the thumbs up definitely helps us. Tells YouTube that we're, something worth watching. Who's going to win the World Series? Great question, Nicolas. J'ai aucune idée. J'ai aucune idée. J'ai pas regardé assez de baseball cette année pour avoir une opinion à ce sujet. I haven't watched enough baseball this year to really have a valid opinion on who's going to win the World Series. So yeah, it's hard to say. I really don't know. I mean, I'm not a big predictor to begin with, but that's definitely one that I'm not prepared to prognosticate on. A thumbs down? Who's sending us thumbs down? I guess somebody's watching at least. Oh, no, they turned it to a thumbs up. There we go. Turn that smile up, or what is it? Turn that frown upside down. All right, guys, our last feature, for those of you, this is a bit of a new one. Our last feature is what we call our good, the bad, and the ugly. And so there's what it looks like. And so what we do is we, things in the game tonight that were good, things in the game tonight that were bad, and things in the game that were ugly. The good tonight, I say kill, turnover, transition. And in particular, this was a big thing in the first period, right? When the Canadiens are playing their system. If you watch the interview with, I forget which player it was today. I think it was Slavkovsky. He talked about when we're doing the things that we're supposed to do, we're a very good hockey team, right? When we're playing the system, like we know what the system is, and we know what we're supposed to do. When we execute it, we're hard to beat. And I think we saw that in the first period, right? They were killing plays in their own end and turning the puck over. What's up, Wesh? They were killing plays in their own end. They were creating turnovers in the neutral zone. And when they were doing that, they were turning the puck back the other way, like lickety-split. Like, I don't know if you guys noticed that, especially in the first period, but, the speed with which they were turning the puck around and going the other way was very, very impressive. And if they can get to the point where they play like that all of the time or even most of the time, that's a Stanley Cup caliber hockey team, period. I mean, I don't know what better way to say it. I will say that they, the missing piece is the scoring chances. They need to get more shots out of that. Like, so, you can kill the play in your own end, turn it over, and go the other way and get down, into the other team's end in transition. But you then have to get those scoring chances, right? You have to get the shots on goal. You can't have, what did they have in the first period? They had, they only had 3 shots on goal in the first period. Sorry, pardon me, that's not true. They only had 6 shots on goal in the first period. And, only 5 scoring chances. Like, you need to, they did a really good job of getting the puck, and they, the possession in that first period was phenomenal. And if they can continue to do that, they're going to be a really good team. Speed kills, right? The Canadiens were by far the faster team out there tonight. I felt, especially in the first and third periods, that the Predators had a really hard time keeping up with them. Speed on defense, speed on offense, speed right through the lineup. It's been out at third. Did he get him out before the run scored? Did he get him out before the run scored? No. Sorry. The Seattle just scored a run to make it 5-2, but the Jays were able to throw out. Barger was able to throw out the man at third base to end the inning. Yeah, speed. Cole Caulfield. Again, I touched on it earlier in response to the question from Entertab, right? Cole Caulfield has become a player who can take control of the game, right? Obviously, we know that he's a guy who can score goals, and we know he's a guy who can do, pretty special things. But he now seems to be a guy who can take control of the game. His game is that complete now that you can put him out in any scenario, in any situation, and he can control the game. He can win games. I mean, you never win a game by yourself. I don't think any player can win a game by himself, but he's getting to the point now where he is in that conversation. And I don't think there's very many guys in the league who can do that. There's not very many guys on the Canadiens. We talked about Hudson being a guy who can take control of the game. I think Cole Caulfield might be in that category now. What about trying Line on the first power play? Yeah, I don't have any problem with what's going on with Line right now. We talked about it earlier, Wesh. I think right now they're working on Line and his ability to work within the Canadian systems, and that's what they're doing right now. I don't. I mean, the power play. We'll get there. We'll get there in a second here, but shoot the puck. I'm normally the guy who yells at people for yelling shoot the puck, but the Canadiens do need to get more shots towards the goal. They need to get the puck on the net. Good things happen when you put the puck on the net. You're not going to score every time you shoot the puck, but you're going to, there will be rebounds if you can get screens, if you can create chaos in front of the other team's net. You can do good things. Like I said earlier, they're transitioning the play. They're getting a ton of possession time. They're near the top of the league as far as possession time and time in the offensive zone. But they're not getting those shots. You could argue, I guess, that they're getting shot attempts, but they're not getting the puck through. Perhaps, but again, they just need to get more pucks towards the net. So, no power play finish. So I agree with you to an extent about the power play. Nicolas, when you say our power play has been fine, I think the power play has been pretty good, but they're just not finishing. They're not getting the shots on the goal. I again, not a person who yells shoot, 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 especially on a power play. But they do need to set plays with the idea of getting a good shot on goal. I thought tonight their power play looked quite good, but I would venture to say I think they had 2 power plays, and I think they only had maybe 2 shots on goal or 3. Zach Bolduc in the bumper is, that's supposed to be a spot for him. Set the puck up for him to get a shot. They're not getting the puck to Line to get his shot as much. So, even Demidov and Caulfield getting more shots. So, I just think there needs to be more finish on the power play, and I think that's something that will come with repetition and with more opportunities and more playing. What's up, Larry? What's going on? Did you guys all leave Coach's live? Is Coach finally off the air? Now you guys can come and see me. You can come and see me now that Coach is done. The ugly. This is where I kind of, the ugly is kind of like the stuff that was bad, but is kind of a little bit funny. Pierre Oud. I like the RDS broadcast. I think it's by far the best Montreal Canadiens television broadcast. I watch it, over any English broadcast, whether it's on TSN or on Sportsnet. I certainly like it better than the TVA broadcast. But Pierre Oud sometimes just doesn't know what he's talking about. On the Perbix goal, he blames Mike Matheson. Mike Matheson goes in, makes a really nice play, cuts to the goal, and almost scores, to give the Canadiens the lead. And sorry, I'm trying to think of how to say this probably. He makes a really nice play. He gets caught up in the offensive zone. The puck goes the other way, and Perbix ends up scoring a goal to give the Predators the 2-1 lead. And the first words out of Pierre Oud's mouth are, Mike Matheson what did he say? Something about Mike Matheson making a bad decision or poor decision making from Mike Matheson, and I'm just like, oh, Vlad Guerrero with a home run, and I don't. And then there was another play where, towards the end of the game where Demidov has the puck and he tries to make a nice little pass to a teammate, and it gets intercepted by Nashville, and all of a sudden, he says, "Oh, there's another bad play by a young player," right? And his favorite word, "passe à l'aveuglette." I don't think he understands what "passe à l'aveuglette" means. He says it about 40 times per game, and I think he thinks that any pass, any drop pass, any back pass, is a passe à l'aveuglette. Passe à l'aveuglette is a blind pass, and these guys are not making blind passes. Anyways, it's my biggest complaint about Pierre Hood. He's got a lovely voice. He calls a wonderful game. Like I said, I prefer the RDS broadcast over just about everything else. But I don't think Pierre Hood really understands hockey. As wild as it is to say for a guy who's watched as much hockey as he has, I don't feel like he has a great understanding of the game. Now, I know people will say that's blasphemy, and I'm perfectly happy to respond to that. But anyways, sometimes he just says stuff that just drives me crazy. But he's always looking for somebody to blame, right? Every time something bad happens to the Canadiens, it's got to be done. Sometimes the other team is a good team and they score goals. It's not always, some guy screwed up or some guy's too young or some guy's, not thinking or some guy's not working hard enough. Sometimes it's just, sometimes the other team's going to score goals. Cardiac Kids. I mean, this is, they're winning, and I'm not going to complain about them winning, but I wish they would win in other ways. It's not so much for me because I love, I think it's exciting for the fans, to watch them win in this manner. Obviously the last two games have been great entertainment and great to watch, and, we'll take it, but, you can't be winning this way over and over and over again. Like you're gonna have heart attacks, right? As Cole Caulfield said, maybe next time we'll try and win and keep the game a little bit shorter. And I think, in the long run, that's probably a better recipe. I think they need to learn how to put the nail in the coffin when they have the opportunity and not, wait till the last minute of the game to tie it up and then win in overtime. So, Wesh says that's why I watch TSN. Well, overall, for me anyway, the TSN broadcast is no better. I get your point. I think overall the RDS broadcast is better, just because I think it's more Montreal based, and they understand. I mean, if you watch TSN, that's great, but the reality is that their announcers don't really know much about what's going on with the Canadiens. Coach is doing baseball now. Okay. Coach loves to be on the air, man. Coach is on the air. I think if you let him, Coach would probably go on the air 24/7. He loves being on the air, and he's fun to watch. But yeah, it's hard for me to initially when I first started doing my show, I tried to do I tried not to be on the air at the same time as Coach, sort of out of a bit of a sign of respect. And, he'd been doing it before I did, and I didn't want to sort of step on his toes a little bit. But, honestly, it's become kind of hard because he's just on the air so much. So now I just kind of do my own thing and hope that people will come on over and check us out. I know Larry always tries to make his way over. Wesh. You haven't been yet over this year, but I know you were in the past. Randy, Entertap, all you guys. Asim, I think, is a Coach Frenchie guy as well. Lucky, of course. So yeah, I'm glad you're all here. I love to see you here. Merci beaucoup. Thank you guys. I love chatting with you guys, and you guys have made tonight's live a lot better by your questions and your comments. And we've, like I said, I always try to. I'd rather talk with you guys than at you guys. And when you guys are participating in the question and comment section, that's a lot easier thing for me to do. Toronto, TSN does glaze. know if they glaze Toronto necessarily as much as they talk about them a lot, right? It's all about the Maple Leafs and the Blue Jays and the Raptors. So, anyways, I think that's gonna be just about it, guys. Listen, if you're enjoying the show, give us a thumbs up, hit the notification bell, subscribe. Again, we're trying to get to 500 followers. We're close. I think we're about 35 to 40 short. The TSN, sorry, the TSN, the YouTube stats tell me that only about 30 to 35% of the people who watch the show actually subscribe. So, certainly, if you want to be a part of this and you want to help us out, we would love to have you. Même chose en français. Si vous avez des questions en français, moi, je parle français. J'aimerais bien vous répondre, avoir des conversations avec vous en français. Alors, pour moi, c'est idéal si vous avez des questions. Je sais que tout le monde préfère demander les questions en anglais. Et quand je parle en anglais, vous demandez toujours des questions en anglais. Mais si vous avez des questions en français, j'aimerais bien vous répondre comme ça. C'est une équipe bilingue. C'est une équipe avec des partisans bilingues. Alors, moi, je pense qu'on devrait avoir l'opportunité de parler dans les deux langues officielles. I think we should both, we should be able to talk to each other in both languages. The Canadiens are a bilingual team from a bilingual city in a bilingual country, and with bilingual fans. And if you guys want to talk French, I can talk French, and if you want to talk English, I can talk English. So I would love to take more of an advantage of that and get a little bit more of the French conversation going. Plus, it lets me practice my French because, as you can hear, it's a little bit rusty now that I live out here on the East Coast and don't get the opportunity to use it as regularly as I did when I lived in Montreal. So unless you guys have any more to say about the game, unless there's any more questions that come in here in the next minute or two, I think that's going to be just about it for tonight. Vas-tu aller à des matchs des Canadiens cette année? J'ai pas de plan en ce moment d'aller au match au Bell Center, au Centre Bell. J'aimerais bien faire ça. Mon frère habite encore à l'ouest de l'île de Montréal. Alors, si j'ai l'occasion de lui visiter, j'aimerais bien prendre l'opportunité d'aller voir le Canadien au Centre Bell. Mais pour maintenant, il n'y a pas de plan de faire ça. Alors, je vais regarder les matchs. Je vais regarder les matchs à la télé. Peut-être aussi, j'ai un frère qui habite à Ottawa. Alors, j'ai des plans d'aller lui visiter pendant les fêtes. Peut-être on va aller si les Canadiens. Je ne sais pas quand les Canadiens vont jouer à Ottawa. Peut-être je vais aller quand même regarder un match à Ottawa, mais si les Canadiens jouent, c'est encore mieux. Mais je n'ai pas de plan d'aller voir des matchs des Canadiens cette année. All right, Wesh, thanks for coming by. I appreciate it so much. As usual, it's been a pleasure. Merci tout le monde. Thank you very much, everybody. It's been a really great time again. You've made the show all the more better with your participation, your comments, and your questions. Again, Montreal Canadiens 3-2 over the Nashville Predators in overtime. Of course, now that the show is ending, the stats have come up finally on Natural Stat Trick, although they have not included any stats from overtime, so we really haven't missed out on anything. So anyways, thanks so much, guys. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. We will see you most likely on Saturday night after the game versus the Rangers. Hockey Night in Canada, of course, big game. I look forward to seeing you. On va vous voir la prochaine après le match samedi soir contre les Rangers. Je pense bien. Peut-être, ça se peut que je ne vais pas être. Je vais être à la plage. I'm going to be at the beach at our family, my mom's place, on the weekend. So I don't know actually if I'm going to be able to do a show on Saturday. Je suis pas certain si je pourrais faire une émission samedi soir après le match. Ça se peut bien que je vais pas faire, je vais pas avoir une émission. C'est tout le temps fun d'aller à Ottawa quand les Canadiens jouent là-bas. Oui, c'est sûr. J'aime bien regarder les matchs des Canadiens dans les arénas des autres équipes. All right, that's it. I hope you enjoyed, guys. Have a great night. Again, like I said, Saturday might not be a go. It may be, it may not be, but either way, I'll be watching the game. I hope you guys will too. Go Habs, go. Merci beaucoup tout le monde. Go Habs, go. À la prochaine. Bonsoir. À la prochaine.
To Hoffman, Monahan parked in front, docks to Caulfield, fires, scores!
You are about to enter Habs After Dark with Recliner Sports.